attention, but. I know the bus barn going on that.
Yep.
That way.
Yep,
west
that
side.
kind of corner.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of
Your brother-in-law's just aging if you.
Yeah. Oh, no, no.
You're observing.
Yeah. Yeah, so if our bus barn is not before theirs, I'll have to give them a hard time.
Well, they work on the 4th of July, so.
Yeah.
Our guys were.
Yeah.
Been working hard.
They may have to buy shorter school buses because full school bus in their existing bus barn.
Well, they have a lot of drivers that just have the
Yeah,
buses
have
at
their
their
own.
Yeah.
own personal residences. Steve was telling me that's the way it used to be here too.
Bus
Yeah.
drivers took them home, they still do to this day.
Where is that?
Hillsman Recruit.
Oh, really? They always do.
So if you had a bus driver that lived up by Beaver Creek, they just took off from their house and went with kids.
Okay, it's 5 o'clock, so we'll end the public hearing and we will call the regular meeting to order.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jackie, you got roll call.
I do.
Everybody's got a copy of the agenda. In front of us, is there any additions or corrections that need to be made?
Just some last minute bills today.
Yep. No taking the motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion to adopt the agenda as listed.
Motion and a second to adopt the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Public input on non-agenda items. If anybody would like to speak at this time. Okay. Moving on. Approval of minutes of past. Those were in the
I saw
online.
two like small typos. but
Okay.
I, one that says thanks to the Holford family, but it was Holfords that got the house right. HOF,
Oh.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
And on one of them, it said like, motion was carried 5 to 0.4.
Oh, there it is. Second paragraph.
Okay, I was like,
Or, oh, sorry.
maybe it was already correct from.
There, there. That was right there.
Oh, yeah, like halfway down the second page, yep.
See it there. Stewart moved to approve the note bids. There's just a 4 at the end of that.
Okay.
Yeah,
5-0.
sorry, they were minor, but I thought.
Very good. Okay, any other corrections? Otherwise, I'll take a motion in a second. If you're ready.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes with the correction.
I'll second.
Okay, got a motion and a second to approve minutes with the corrections of last month's meetings. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, approval of financial items. Jackie, can you take it?
First thing is, can't I find my board meeting? All of a sudden, it's disappeared on me. Is the school business official report, and I received information, a little bit more information regarding the Riverboat Foundation, how it's changing the monthly distribution. Now it's going to be ACH. They will adjust and predict the future earnings, and then send it an equal amount each month. So it really doesn't make a difference how I get the dollars. I just wanted you guys to understand that that's how it goes. And then I attached a revenue report just so you could kind of see how we've been getting our dollars and then kind of what the estimate could possibly be at the bottom of that attachment. So anyway, either way.
With the new board member coming on next month, do you want to maybe kind of shoot out just a summary of, you know, what we've used those funds for
Absolutely, yep,
in the past, and
I will.
thank you.
Okay, and next, financial reports. I did include an end of year, it's labeled 624 money. So this is how I track all of our investments and distinguish between the banks of how it's divided into various accounts. So if you remember correctly, when we received our $2.5 million for the projects, we split that equally between Premier and Frontier. And so you can kind of see how those accounts are kind of split out. So it's obviously not exactly equal because we do get other earnings, but that's where that 2.5 million went. And then I'll slowly take away from each as those bills come in. The next one is our annual treasurer's report. This is the one that I will update. I'll have 2 reports starting next month, one for our end of fiscal year that we're currently finishing up, and then as we start our new fiscal year, just so you can kind of see where we end our expenditures and our revenues in relation to the 3 previous years. But as you can see, our cash is still quite significant because our revenues were up simply because of our state aid and our property taxes, but we did not levy any additional cash. So again, we'll slowly start to eat away at that in those next months, this upcoming year. Expenditures at this time are down according to last year, but I haven't even begun to pay out my rest of my end of fiscal year things. So that will change as we go forward. And the same thing with revenue, it's slightly down. I'll get a few more things from the state. Otherwise, our last property tax, not our last property, our state aid and all those things end in June. So we don't get anything in July and August from the state unless it's kind of an end of the year thing like transportation assistance or something like that. So I'll update those things as we go through. Next month, I will update you on my end of year accruals for my payroll and all of that. So that'll also add into our expenditures. Next report is the activities report, which includes your activity fund, hot lunch fund, student construction, FFA farm, and split funding. As you can see, the student construction account is no longer negative because we did receive that check from the family when they purchased and hauled the house away. So that's our beginning balance to start any new project that the class and administration decide to do. Split funding is where we're going to pay out our HSA dollars, if you remember that, and that's right around $150,000 this year, if I remember correct. But I'll update again at the end of this month and into next month's report and let you know where I end up when I do that here in the July payroll. Special revenue fund, management, physical plant and equipment, playground, save, and debt service. Management, we'll continue to get dollars in, but I have not received the invoice for our fiscal year 25 property and casualty insurance that Lisa reported on last month. I haven't received the invoice for that yet, but in all estimation, I think it's going to be close to 200,000, if not more. So we'll wait and see what that is. So we'll run the negative in management fund for part of the year until our tax draws catch up. Because if you remember correctly, we did increase that to compensate for that. Physical plant and equipment levy, 295,000. Playground, right around 122, and then save dollars, a little over 3. There is another payment request from Visions in today's bills for $291,000. That'll come out of the save dollars. And then in your summary list of bills, I did add additional bills today, so make sure you review those and let me know if you have any specific questions. Some of them are for last fiscal year and some of them are for going forward, so a little confusing.
Give everybody a little time to review that. Ask questions if there are any.
This time of year gets to be a lot. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
What's SAI dues?
So each of our administrators are required to be a part of School Administrators of Iowa, that's their annual dues, for support, training, mentoring. That covered.
Yep, annual convention.
So they can choose to have me pay the bill, or they can use their credit card and do it too. So if you don't see it there, it's probably in that credit card.
Anybody else have any questions? Comments?
I'm just curious how it's gone with the first year with Bound, like as far as payments, and is that going smoothly?
I would rather have Mr. Cruz probably give you that
Okay,
update. I can
okay.
give you a totals
Oh,
of
that's
what
fine.
we've taken in from
Yeah.
Bound. But
I assumed you were doing, sorry.
I do, but I do the backside of
Yeah.
it. So
Yep.
as far as
Sounds good.
reactions and how the
Sure.
each
Comments?
comment.
Yeah, I was just curious, like them paying us for like the ticket sales or, you know, the stuff.
That's.
Oh, that, it's all Bound. Like
That's-
it's literally, there's probably, as far as at the door, they'll get people as they come in, but very little cash.
Sure.
Maybe just a few random people who
Yeah.
just weren't prepared.
Yeah, and
But
like track meets. For
yeah. Yep. I know there was a baseball game, maybe it didn't happen because of weather, but we obviously can't get Wi-Fi out there, so they did all cash.
Sure.
Otherwise, all of our events, I think, went fairly smoothly.
Any other questions? Otherwise, I'll take a motion to approve the financial items as listed with the additional list of bills.
I'll make a motion to approve the financial report as listed with the additional bill.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Motion and second to approve the financial items as listed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Administrative reports. Recognition, congratulations to students, staff, and community.
Yeah, included a handful of recognitions and achievements. Josh Jagger participated in the National FCCLA competition here a week ago before the 4th. Finished second place in the Consumer Math Challenge, so that's quite the accomplishment for him individually. We had countless students that helped throughout our community, but also went down to Rock Valley, so we want to thank all the students and staff members that volunteered, you know, whether they're helping neighbors, family, friends. Just can't say enough about our kids' willingness to support. And specifically Jeff Jagger. Jeff Jagger kind of organized our students going down to Rock Valley a week ago to help with their clean out. So I know we had a lot of people that just drove directly there themselves, but appreciate Jeff kind of organizing our students and being that kind of voice for us.
Sorry to interrupt, but do you know, will these schools, have they reached out for any help with, you know, if we got excess supplies, or, I mean,
Not yet.
okay.
Yeah, so I still think their goal is to try to, you know, get things cleaned right now. They haven't started sourcing any supplies or donations yet. Honestly, I haven't talked a lot to Matt Van Worst because he's just been so focused and busy. Hoping to actually get down there in person this week to talk to him about his plans and preparations. So,
Was
You know,
George him bad, or how bad? I don't know.
you know, in my conversations previously with Tom Luxford before he was done at the, you know, beginning of July, you know, their facility is fine. As far as supplies or anything, they didn't have any immediate needs, so. But I haven't met their new superintendent yet, so. There's a meeting, I think, next week with her. So if they need anything or any support, then we'll be sure to pitch in. Yep. Clara Black was a bus driver that kind of transported kids back and forth to the Tsunami Water Park, so I want to thank her specifically as well. And you can see there, Lenny Ditzworth and Chris Wright both were readers for kind of end of year assessments. So Lenny for the ISAS, kind of the Iowa assessments, and Chris Wright for very, very many years has been a reader for advanced placement calculus tests. So Chris spent 9 days prior to the flooding, reading and grading and participating in that. So appreciate both of them doing that. And then want to recognize members of our community, but also Sioux Center and MOC. When we played them in baseball and softball, they made donations, kind of had a free will donation. So appreciate those. We just kind of handed those supplies over to the city for distribution and support for those that needed it. We had these senior families that donated their final child's kind of lunch account dues to our donations account, so appreciate them doing that. And then for the minutes, want to recognize the Lyon County Riverboat Foundation for awarding us just shy of $3,000 for new track hurdles. So Mr. Cruz is the one that completed that mini grant, and I don't know how many total hurdles, if it was 30 hurdles that we were able to get, but not all the hurdles will be replaced, but kind of a nice help.
But there were some newer than others, I think it seemed like this year.
Yeah,
Like,
so-
I mean, they're not always old, so
Yep,
that makes
yep.
sense.
So the Wagmeister family had made the last donation.
Yep.
And so these that we just got kind of take care of the ones prior to that, so.
Thanks. That's awesome.
That's all I have for anything else, Jackie, that you've seen.
Mm-mm.
Yep. As far as my report, just kind of update everybody on facilities. We had our facilities meeting with FEH and Visions today. Making great progress, as Scott kind of alluded to. There were crews for both the bus barn and the playground worked through the 4th of July holiday weekend. It looks like the elementary playground's done, but it's not. And so we had put some signs out there that say, still under construction. We're waiting for a couple pieces of equipment to kind of finish that. But it looks like everything's done. So when I was up here, I had to shoo some people off the equipment this last weekend. So,
I was just trying to figure out if these kids are on the new equipment or they're on the old equipment at the moment, so.
yep. The preschool, if you haven't been on Story Street preschool playground, will have that artificial turf inside that concrete kind of trike track that they have. That will be done by the end of this week. And then we'll, once everything's done there, we'll resod some of the areas that were where the tree was that we took the stump out and where the lion was. So really, really close on the playgrounds. The auditorium, the floor was sanded at the end of last week, varnished this week, and then everything behind the curtain has new plywood. So that'll be painted black. They also are hoping to be done by the end of this week as well. So those projects really getting close. Last week we did have ARS, our roof company, here after the rains that we had. They made some repairs to the roof, and then Steve's reached out to a second company for kind of a caulking quote. So hope to have that for everybody's consideration in August and kind of have everything recaulked. It's been 5 years since that's been done. So 2019 was the last time kind of caulking around windows and where different levels of the building meet each other. So hope to have that quote for consideration in August. So those are kind of facilities updates. I did want to let everybody know that we will have online registration that will start August 5th. And people can begin that online registration. If they'd rather do it in person, we'll have in-person registration on August 12th. So those two dates are coming up. They'll happen between now and our next meeting. People can enjoy their July and their family week activities and then turn their focus in August back to registration and back to school. So speaking of family week, so July 29th through August 2nd, the offices will be closed. Both Jackie and I have plans to be out that week. There won't be any practices. There won't be any camps. There won't be any workouts or anything here at the school. So we're going to take advantage of that time ourselves. So if folks need stuff, we'll have our out of office things on our emails, but get a hold of us before the 29th or after the 2nd.
Is the building basically closed?
Steve and his crew will be working. but the offices will be closed. That's when they like to try to do a lot of the common areas for the waxing and the cleaning, just because we don't have that traffic that week. I have.
That's okay. Any board committee report? Anybody have?
We didn't have any committee meetings this last month, so.
No old business listed, and I'm not aware of, so we will move on to new business. Item number 1, consider appointment to fill school board vacancy. With the resignation last month, we had an opening. We had 5 applicants that put in applications again, which we're extremely grateful for. Those 5 individuals putting in the application. Just for some information purposes, as a board, we've chosen not to, and this is the way it's kind of been in the past, not to go through each application at the board table. So there's been lots of conversations one-on-one between board members before we get to the board table to kind of decide which route we're going to go. Which really appreciate all of the applications that have come in. Makes our decision a little bit harder. Reason we've chosen to do it that way, it's kind of like with the regular election in our viewpoint, that when the regular election comes, the paper does a good job of putting question and answers out there, and that's what we've kind of done with our application, kind of gone with that same philosophy. So we're basing our information off of the application and our personal views, knowledge of those individuals. So we truly appreciate it. And again, if you're not selected tonight, don't discourage that from running again. We've got 5 quality applicants that I think each one would do a fine job in their own right. So we appreciate that very much. Anything to add, Brent?
Yeah, there was 4 individuals that applied when we appointed Matt, and Craig Linya's application is the only new application from that March.
We certainly can take questions or have any discussion. Not to say that we won't. If anybody would like to bring anything up, I think how we've handled it in the past. Anybody can ask any questions. Otherwise, we'll take nominations. There can be more than one nomination, but each nomination will require a second to be voted on. So that stance, I'll open it up to the board for any comments or questions or nominations.
I think this was a really tough one. Talking to everyone today and over the weekend, I think it was really challenging.
I would agree with that sentiment.
Like Scott said, I think that there was 5 really quality applicants. All of them would have been great. I guess some of the things that we really looked at was, kids in the district. If you didn't have kids in the district, I guess, that something that could possibly be a strike.
Yep.
I don't know. I guess I'll make a nomination for Craig Linya.
Okay. Very good. Okay. We have one nomination for Craig Linya. Is there any other nominations?
I'll make a nomination for Jason Lucy.
Okay, we've got one nomination for Craig, and we've got one for Jason. So we need a second, unless there's going to be a third nomination that you're going to put in there, but I can't make nominations, so basically it'll come down to third, and then we'll have to basically reconvene and see if anybody's mind changes. Maybe have some discussion at that point in time. Otherwise, we'll take a second on any nomination of the two nominations.
So no pressure, Matt. That's what it's telling you.
Yeah, that's definitely a difficult decision. Um, I think I'll make a second for Craig.
We have a motion and a second for Craig to fill a school board vacancy. Um, We'll go to a vote at this point in time, so all those in favor of nominating Craig, signal by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion carries. Again, can't express our gratitude enough for those willing to put their names out there. And yeah, it's never an easy decision for us, but please don't be discouraged from running again. Thank you to those that were on the application list, and congratulations, Craig.
Craig, kind of next steps from here, we'll find a time to meet and begin that orientation process. Jackie will kind of swear you in at that point, oath of office, and then between now and our next meeting, we can meet as often as you'd like to, but then once we do publish our agenda for August, I'll kind of set up a time and then we'll kind of go through that and go through the Robert's Rules of Order. Any questions that you have at that time, we'll just kind of work through them.
Good.
All right.
Next item, consider a resolution to continue participation in the instructional support program, which we had our public meeting before the meeting. So Jackie, you want to add?
Not really. So like I said, our instructional support levy is an option of how we can use part of our state aid and part property tax. What the district has chosen to do is do a board approval every 5 years. So this is for the next 5 years. And we utilize reducing property taxes with this levy is what we try to do. So in some years, we increase property taxes and we decrease state aid. In other years, we increase state aid and decrease property taxes. So it just kind of depends on where we're at with our tax rate. But we have a little bit of play with it. But we've decided to use it that way and do it every 5 year board vote rather than putting it to an actual election or public vote. So as I said, we tried this last fall. And the resolution that I received from the state did not have that combination of the state aid and property tax. So that's why we're doing this again. It doesn't expire until 2025, the end of 2025, but we like to get it in advance. I've got my 4th notification from the Department of Management saying, you realize it's expiring. So that's where we're at.
And
So-
this will run through 2030.
Right, this will run through that. Yep. So my recommendation is to please approve it. And so it's actually a resolution, so I'll need a director to introduce it, a director to second it, and then we'll do a roll call vote. And you're basically approving what we just ran through.
Any other questions for Jackie? Comments? Take a motion and a second to consider the resolution. As listed.
I'll make a motion to consider the resolution as listed.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the resolution to continue participation in the instructional support program.
And Director Postma,
Yes, aye.
Harder.
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Stern.
Aye.
Motion passes with roll call of 4-0. And we'll submit that to the state. Thank you.
Next item, consider contract for Superintendent Brent Jorth. We had Brent's evaluation
2
last
weeks ago.
month, 2 weeks ago, the end of June, which, yeah, was productive, went very well. contract is for a new 2-year agreement beginning with this school year, and then also the next school year. Salary is listed, next year will be determined after next evaluation,
Mhm.
so, and like we've done. Anything to add or any questions or comments about that? Want to take a motion to approve a contract for superintendent Pritchett?
The motion to approve the contract for George.
I'll second.
Yeah, motion and a second to approve contract for superintendent. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next item, consider door replacement quote.
Yeah, so if you recall, a year and a half ago, we had included this door replacement quotes in the original bid. The project that had included at that time the bus barn, classroom remodels, et cetera. So 2 quotes here from Giels Glass and Vogel Paint and Glass. You can see there's, the one bid's about 60% of the other, recommending Vogel Paint and Glass for the doors as listed here. The north entrance to the high school building, which is down by the career and technical education wing, so Grant Engels classroom. The south door at the activity center, and then the activity center kind of fitness center entrance door. And then there's also, we're adding a door for an interior classroom. Right now, we've got an opening in the cinder block between what is Sarah DeVries' classroom. There's an empty classroom right next to it. We're going to use that empty classroom, so we want to close that off. So we're just putting a door instead of putting cinder block to separate those two. So that's where the 3420 quote is coming from.
Any questions or comments about the quotes as listed? Otherwise, I will make a motion to approve the quote from Vogel Paint Glass for $31,270 to replace those doors.
I'll make a motion to approve the quote from Vogel Paint and Glass.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Consider depository institutions and authorized signers. I believe we do this on an annual basis to update our depositories and signers. As listed, we've got Frontier Bank, US Bank, and Premier Bank, plus the Iowa School Joint Investment Trust. And signers will be myself, the president, and Brent and Jack.
They are all up to date, so it's basically just a renewal.
Just a renewal.
I'll make a motion to approve the depositories and signers as listed.
Okay, second. Got a motion and a second to approve the depository institutions and authorized signers. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next item, consider free and reduced price school meal statement.
Yep, so these are just the publications that we'll put on the website, include with registration for families that are applying for free or reduced meals. Every year, the USDA changes the different thresholds, so you can kind of see that here in the press release. And then the actual application materials are both in English and Spanish. If you qualify based upon those thresholds, there's either a free meals for, obviously last month you approved free breakfast for everybody, so we're just talking about lunch. If you qualify for reduced, then it's 40 cents for lunch instead of $2.40 for elementary or $2.50 for 7 through 12 students. So again, we don't have a lot of discretion here. It's just the federal dictates that we approve these, and then like I said, publish them on the website, include them with their registration materials. And families at any point during the school year can complete these, either paper forms, or we do have the electronic forms as a part of the registration as well. So,
None of this really changed other than the,
other than the
Updated
income
income and-
thresholds that
yeah, and
the
the price,
USDA dictates to us.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we don't have,
Nope.
not saying that. I'm just,
Right, yeah.
I mean, we can approve it, but it doesn't really.
Doesn't change anything.
right,
One of those things the auditor asks me for every single year, make sure that you
Sure. That we-
did
Yeah.
have it before you and you realize that you were offering this and under those guidelines.
Yeah.
Very good. Any other questions? Otherwise, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to consider free and reduced price school meals as listed.
I'll second.
A motion and a second to approve the free and reduced price school meals. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Announcements, dates to remember.
We are in postseason softball and baseball. So baseball team won on Saturday. They beat West Sioux 3-1. So they play tomorrow night in Larchwood versus West Lyon. They'll be the second game over there. And then the girls will travel to Marcus on Wednesday for their opening round game of the postseason. And continue to win, continue to play basically 2 days apart from their activities. So wish them the best of luck. And then, like we said, Family Week here is the end of the month. Actually, Sunday to Sunday, the 28th to the 4th of August. And then I am planning, the second Monday is the 12th, so that's the same day as registration. So we could have some families kind of in the commons or upstairs registering while we have our meeting. But I'm planning, unless you guys have conflicts on the 12th.
Just out of curiosity on that, is like this game on Tuesday.
Yep.
At Larchwood.
Yep.
Is that set up beforehand that it's at Larchwood second round? Because I see it was at Cherokee versus West Sioux.
Yep.
Now at Larchwood versus West Lyon.
Yep, so it's, both the girls and the boys, they seed the teams in your district.
Oh, okay.
And so the boys, West Lyon is like the number one seed in our district. So they get to host once they start playing. And then I think it's Hinton on the girls' side is the highest seed in the softball. So if we win at Marcus, then the second round game would be, or third round game will be down at Hinton.
Okay.
So just like once we get to football and volleyball, if you have a good regular season, you get to be the host, and we've benefited from that.
I didn't
The
know if
difference
that was
was-
West Sioux, if they had been flooded, down in Hayward, and then so it got moved to Cherokee or not.
No, a year ago, we got to host the baseball kind of opening round games. This year, we had to travel.
Have we ever considered doing like offering a tour of the school, like on the night of registration or no? Just out of curiosity. I've had some parents who aren't from here that I'm like friends with, and they've said, I don't even know how to get down to the gym when we do like hot lunch week. And I never really thought about it. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously
we
I
have
would-
open house, right? So
Sure,
we always have back to school night.
Yeah.
And then if they're new families, we really encourage them to just contact the office.
sure.
And a lot of times, if they show up at registration, Mr. Harmon or Mr. Engelman or the counselors, happy to give
Show them around. Yeah.
families tours or schedule something anytime.
Right.
They
We just
want
don't
to come
really
in
advertise it,
one-on-one.
yeah.
Yep.
Yep, got it.
So a lot of our secondary families, they'll come in because they got to make a schedule with Mrs. Harmon.
Yeah.
And so she'll make sure that they know where their locker
their way around,
is
yeah.
and know where, their classes are, especially that first hour class on that very first day. And she does a really nice job with the student council as kind of the ambassadors
Oh, yeah.
on that back to school night.
I'll have people call during the summer who are interested,
Okay,
and I usually try to redirect them to either building principal, just like get the right
Right.
information.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be me, so, but people do call.
Yeah.
and it's not even necessarily like new people
Okay.
who said it, just people that have been like
Yeah.
They didn't grow up here and they have elementary kids and they've said, when they tell us to go down and join our kids in the
Right?
high school gym for hot lunch week, like, I don't really know how to get there. And I was like, guess I never gave much thought to it.
Yeah.
Like walking through the mezzanine
Yeah.
and, you know, they were like,
Open house.
Very good. Anybody have anything else before we move on to bill review? August 12th works for everybody at 5 o'clock. You too, Fred.
What's it?
August 12th at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, put it in my phone.
Very good. Sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
Let's move on to bill review. Thank you.
One,
Keep one.
you can keep the one.
Craig, is there a specific day that works for you?
Whatever, whenever.
I asked him to.
Oh. No, you're fine, just didn't even see you do that.
Whatever.
I thought it was a good snap.
It's more whatever we're thinking for schedule.
I'm gonna be here, so,
you want this shut down?
other than that,
Yeah.
that week of the,
That we,
that week,
how long is it gonna take roughly?
I think it's been an hour just kind of going over general stuff. And then we'll schedule something probably that week before the next board meeting. So,
Tell you what, can I just call you tomorrow?
yep,
And then look at my calendar and see when I can figure an hour in?
Yep.
Morning, evening, work at all?
I'm flexible.
He's a early morning riser.
Usually, I leave town at 5:30, I get home whenever I get home, but I can
Yeah.
move around, and make stuff.
And I'm happy to meet you someplace for lunch in Sioux Falls too, if that's easier.
Whatever, we'll figure something out.
Sounds good.
Can I do this for him right now in case it's not
Yeah.
within 30 days?
Yep.
All right, Craig, you're gonna give me a yes, I will do so. You solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of Director at Large for the Central Lyon Community School District as now or hereafter required by law. If so, answer yes, I will do so.
Yes, I will do so.
You are sworn in.
Want me to sit and stay with the code review or a bill review?
All they basically do right now is they take my individual bills that I have
I
attached
don't need to see it.
proof.
Just for,
Yeah, and what I ask of them is look at the bill, make sure it looks legit, make sure it matches. Specific questions about the detail of it. It's basically just a CYA for me and a CYA for them,
Yep.
so that,
Balance and checks.
yeah, balances and checks, absolutely. So not a lot that goes on other than